Get a drill.
Freedom is very fragile. It's more fragile when we don't know the truth. You're about to be FramersView, where truth is the foundation of every day's program. Join us live every weekday right here on Rumble at 1 p.m. Eastern. Now, here's Neil Frame on FramersView.
Welcome to FramersView. It is a Thursday. We're having something very special happen in Colorado. Something we don't ever see. It's called rain. You might have heard of it. It's something that comes out of the sky and gets everything wet. And according to rumors, that wet then rolls down to streams and it goes into reservoirs, and then it comes down to the city and comes to our water treatment plant, and then we have water. And that's called rain. I just thought I'd share that with you because some people, don't really know about that. We really don't get much rain. But I think last night, my dog Pickles, she's scared to death of storms. Lightning, thunder, rain, scared to death. And so I had her on top of me last night, trembling like she was going to get shot or something. Which, of course, we probably wouldn't shoot her because, well, she's a good puppy dog. Anyway, welcome to the show. Hey, it's Thursday, and Thursday is a special day today because it is the explanation of socialism, where it's going, or is it going, and how are we going to manage this? And if you've seen this, heard this before, and you don't want to hear it anymore, I get it, but there's so many people that don't know. They don't know about what's going on in this country because they watch news that is not relevant to anything. But we'll talk about that. I want to talk about something real quick that has nothing to do with politics. I never talk sports because I'm trying to mix those two, just, oil and water. And but Caitlin Clark, if you don't know who she is, she's on the WNBA, a phenom. She can shoot three-pointers from the other end of the court. It's unbelievable. Great player. She is fouled, massive fouls, massive everything. The referees aren't calling him. Nobody's doing anything about it. The WNBA isn't doing anything about it. The coaches, it's just out of control. And I bring this up for one reason, and that is that this is a sign. And I don't know how much of a sign it is, but it's a sign of just how out of control we are. When I say we, the whole continuum of politics, of sports, of people, nobody does anything about anything. In this case, we pretty well know, it's been said, this isn't said by me, that the reason she's getting the hell that she's getting is because she's white and she's not a lesbian. Those are two things that don't fit in the WNBA. And, it's sad that could even be true, but it seems to be true. And it seems that it's, I guess, the best way to put it is it's not going to change because nobody wants to change it. You'd like to see what the stadiums are full when Caitlin Clark plays basketball. People are watching basketball even when she's not playing that's never watched the WNBA. And she's been the savior of basketball. And all the great stars that's on and has been on the WNBA, they just weren't getting any attention. And then this phenom comes in that's kind of the Michael Jordan of ladies. And, she's doing amazing things. And guess what? Yeah, they can't stand it. So wouldn't it be interesting to see what would happen if she just said, you know what? I'm going to take a couple of months off and see how the audience goes and see how the revenue goes. And maybe they'll do something about it. I don't know. Maybe they won't. But I don't know. That this is the same as the press and the people and all of, if it's not part of the agenda, then it's getting no attention. There's going to be no protection. There's going to be nothing. That's the way this works. So as we go along here today, you'll see a theme, and that is socialism, voting, fraud, all the stuff that we've talked about before. I try not to repeat myself over and over again. Sorry, lost my mind there for a minute. But my point is this. This thing that's happening in New York is getting all the attention. But before this happened, we had Mamdani. By the way, sorry about the noise. My wife has a piano lesson today, and you can hear the student practice. And it's just the way it is. We've got a big grand piano. The thing resonates through the whole house. Of course, I live in a tiny home, so it's just 20 feet away. Anyway, the socialism started before these three ladies that became the candidates that got through the primary this past Tuesday. And I say that because we know that Katie Wilson, that's in Seattle, she is a total communist whack job. She's running people out of the state, including Starbucks, and a lot of the big tech companies are saying, yeah, no, we're out of here. And she's saying, oh, well, and it's, you'd think, well, okay, you got another wacko mayor. It's just a city. It's not going to get that bad. And then you see these three women that were supported by Mamdani and Hakeem Jeffries saying, hey, support these people, not those people. And he lost all three of those endorsements. Didn't lose the endorsements. Those candidates lost the election of his endorsements, which tells you how strong his endorsements are. And it is a growing, festering situation. The mayor of Boston, you may not call her a communist. She's definitely a socialist. She's definitely not going to do anything for or about the people. This is about power and control. Power and control. We're going to be talking about that. I've got stories. Kalshi, who's a guy that does the reports of politics on CNN, and he doesn't have some happy words for the Democrats. There's some predictions that he did. I found in some of my old stuff, my archives, of predictions he made before the election, and then what happened after the election, and what the socialists are doing and where their power is. That's one thing. We're going to gas the Jews today. Yeah, we're going to gas the Jews, which I think that was already done. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the chat. But I think we already did that, but we're calling for it again. And would be not me and you. But there's a whole bunch of that going on, and it's around the world. And you'll see what I'm talking about with that. And of course, I mentioned the three women that got through the primary in New York. One of them, Darlisa Chatelier, is calling for the destruction of the West. And I've got evidence of that. This is something, I'm not a panicker. There's possibilities and ways to solve problems. We all know that. And it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is, but this has to be squelched. But if you get past New York and you head west, or if you go to California and they head east, everything from there all the way across the country, except for a few exceptions, Austin, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, they're not this crazy. The population, remember I've talked about electoral college, and of course that has nothing to do with local, but it does have to do with presidential. The electoral college that protects and balances out those crazy border states, the seaboards and the western coast, to make a possibility that craziness doesn't run out of control. They figured that out. The founders figured that out. The framers, as in the FramersView, figured that out. But where are we now? And what it looks like, there's a lot of people panicking. I'll get into that. Miranda Devine, brilliant lady, has a lot of experience. She's going to talk about this may be good. What the Dems are doing may be good for Republicans for this 2026 election and possibly 28, because it's a ongoing movement that's causing the Republican Party, which is a mess, to go upside down. And Letitia James is not happy about it. Fetterman, the one intelligent Democrat, who would have ever thought when he was running for office, when he was in debates, this poor guy went through what was clearly a major stroke and couldn't form a sentence. I mean, we already know that Kamala Harris can't do that, and I don't think she had a stroke, but he did, and he wasn't all put together. And once he came, well, he's still coming out of it. You can tell that, but you kind of have to look for it, but he's coming out of it. But he's the only one that's making any sense. But I'll tell you this, there are Democrats that are in the darkness, that are scared to death to tell the truth. It's just that Fetterman doesn't care, as in his sweatshirts and his shorts and all the things that he does. Man, we go from sweatshirts and shorts and almost 7 feet tall to the Somali girl with her hijab or whatever the hell that thing's called, and lying to everybody that's worth $30 million and all of a sudden is worth $50,000. But I won't cover that today. And then voting, people aren't stupid. Doge, inflation, man, jobs are up, inflation is down, things are good, but they don't want you to know that. That is not something we can be talking about. But, if you want to know, and I'm sure you do, if you want to know where the best place is to get the real news, Ted Lieu, a senator from, where is he from? I'm not sure where he's from, but he has the answer to that. Watch this.
The best way to oppose fake news is for people to watch outlets like MSNBC, where you report real news all the time.
Yeah,
How did these idiots get elected?
Exactly right. How did these idiots get elected? He said that back before it changed to MSNOW, because they had to change. They claimed that they changed because they split away from the big network, but they changed their name because their reputation was bad, and now it's even worse. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And while it keeps getting worse and worse and worse for MS Now and for CNN, Fox News is going through the roof with their numbers, now bigger than the three networks. It's pretty wild. And not only that is pretty wild, but the Newsmax folks and News Nation, they're getting more viewers and more popularity than they've ever had. And it's because the Democrats have gone off the rails. And that's part of what I was going to talk about, we'll talk about with Miranda Devine, and how the Democrats could be the biggest campaign advocacy group for the Republicans we could ever have. That's, when you think about it, that's kind of scary for them. Not kind of, it's scary for them. So we'll look at that down the line here. So Kalshi, this is the guy that's on CNN, and he reports stuff. He says, here's where the Dems are. Here's where the Republicans are. Here's what the people are voting on. This is the way they believe. And he just puts it out there. And he's kind of the one little bastion of common sense. So watch this. This is before the election. This is basically predictions. This is predictions. And this is what Kalshi had to say.
If you believe the prediction markets, it's not going to just stop suddenly. It may extend into next week, because just take a look at the chance that Democratic Socialists win in Dem primaries, House primaries here in New York. You go to New York 7th District, right? You got a Brooklyn Borough president who at this point looks like an underdog compared to a Democratic Socialist. And then you may get a Democratic incumbent in Northern Manhattan get knocked off. That's closer to a 50-50 race. But the bottom line is this. Next week in New York may be a very good one for Democratic Socialists. Mayor Mamdani endorsing them. His political star is rising, and he may bring a few Democratic Socialists along with him and put them into Congress.
Yeah, so now here's the deal. So now we have this prediction by Kalshi before the election, which he was dead on. And he was making it clear that these people, along with Bernie Sanders, could get the job done. And lo and behold, it happened. And those people that are saying, "Oh God, it's over. We're all gonna become socialist communists. The country's done. It's over. It's gonna be like Germany. It's gonna be, like China." No, it's not. I really feel like I can predict that it's not going to be that. But we have to fight. And we've got a president that will fight, and we have a few Republicans in the House and the Senate that will fight. But the main fight has to be you and me. The main fight has to be you and me that are out there right now, today, talking to people that we know are Democrats, and talk to them about what's happening. Tell them to, watch Fox News, watch some other things other than the nonsense that you see on CNN, MS Now, and ABC, CBS, NBC. Look at some other things and see if you really believe what they're telling you, if you will believe that. So this is the second piece of Kalshi. Now, this is after the election and understanding capitalism versus socialism. This is telling the story. This is the story, not a story.
Let's take a look here. Net favorability among Dems. Democratic Socialists of America, look at that. A plus 17-point net favorability rating among Democrats. That is actually better. That is better than how congressional Democrats are viewed by Democrats at just plus 4 points. So no wonder that Democratic Socialists have such a good chance, because simply put, they are a better brand at this point than Democrats in Congress.
Among Democrats, it's interesting to see who they like more. All right, and you've used this number before. I always find this fascinating. When you compare socialism to capitalism, how are they doing right now?
Yeah, how are they doing right now among Democrats? You see this Democratic Socialists of America more positive than congressional Democrats. And I'll tell you, take a look at the trend line, that favorable rating among Democrats on socialism and look at this. In 2010, they were about equal. 50% had a favorable view of socialism. 51% said the same about capitalism. But capitalism has absolutely fallen through the floor. Look at this. It's now just 42% of Democrats who have a favorable view of capitalism. Socialism, on the other hand, up like a rocket. Look at this. 2 in 3 Democrats have a favorable view of socialism. So socialism is on the rise among Democrats. Capitalism is on the decline among Democrats. And again, this is part of the longer-term trend in which we are seeing Democratic Socialists doing considerably better among Democrats electing a mayor right here in New York City.
And really, the truth of this is that he's talking about the Democrats. He's not talking about independents and Republicans. He's talking about the Democrat Party. not the Democratic Party. The Democrat Party, are favoring socialism over capitalism. The only two, well, we won't get into that. I always drag stories in that bore people. My point is that the socialism has never worked where it's true socialism. Some European countries have socialism along with capitalism. They try to push those things. Guess what they're doing? They're leaving the whole thing and going to a capitalistic, let's call it format, because it's not working. And financially, they can't make it. So if they can't make it, they got to make a change or go down to a Cuba or Venezuela situation. But by the way, Venezuela, man, yesterday, 2 earthquakes in a row, about 7.5 on the Richter. Who's that Richter guy? Big deal. So we'll help them. We'll get them through. Colombia's already there. They're gonna be okay, but these were big earthquakes. But socialism wasn't working there. Now they're grasping onto capitalism, and guess what's happening? First of all, they're going to be able to recover faster because of capitalism. The oil companies will help build everything back. All of the businesses that are coming in there that are investing in Venezuela are going to do this to help them come back. That's capitalism, because capitalism equals everybody helping everybody. That's what we don't realize sometimes. That's how we lose sight of things. That it isn't that you have to have big business and everybody's a billionaire. That isn't what capitalism is. Capitalism is a little guy that starts a restaurant that he opens up, and he's got 6 people that are wait people, and he's got 2 cooks in the back, and he works his ass off. And those people, those 8 or 10 people that are working in that little shop, are making money and have a job because of that store. That's capitalism. That's an opportunity. And then he opens up another store, and maybe there's 10 people in there or 15. And now you've got 20, 25 people working. And there's taxes that are coming in from that. There's employment tax. There's taxes that are being paid by the employees. That's what capitalism is. It's not Elon Musk. It's not, Starbucks. It is Starbucks. But the big corporations, there are few of those. It hires and have many employees. But it's the little guy. It's the guy that starts a small little manufacturing facility where they do, I don't know, whatever it is, metalwork. And they now have 20 people there. They have 50 people. They grow to 100 people. They get a bigger building. That building that they move out of, somebody else moves in because it's set up for doing what they did, and they become competition. And that makes it good for the buyers. Because the buyers have competition. Competition keeps the price down. I don't want to drag you through this like it's a college course. But capitalism and the economy is so important. Tomorrow I'm going to try to take some time to talk about the Laffer curve and what dropping taxes do for bringing tax income in. And of course, the Dems, they believe that. They can't admit it. Because if they admit it, they're not going to be powerful. And it's all about power. So as they go through this stopping everything that Trump's trying to do, as they try to stop Trump from cutting taxes, calling it, the big bad bill and all of those kind of things, everything's changing. And we'll talk about, as I said, we'll talk about some of that today, but more of it tomorrow. So socialism is all over the country. Watch this, and it's a little hard to hear. So understand the first part of this, you can see the captions at the bottom. It says, gas the Jews. Gas the Jews? How did we get here? After 70 years, how did we manage to get to a point where we're talking about gassing the Jews? Watch this. all over countries.
Resistance is a human right!
We will honor all our martyrs!
We will honor all our martyrs! Glory to the martyrs! Intifada! 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 All of us, Hamas!
Hamas is not a terrorist group. Every single thing they have done is justified.
Oh, everything they've done is justified. No question about it. It's a justifiable situation. If you attack people, if you kill people, this is all paid for by huge socialist organizations. None of this stuff is just grassroots. But did you notice? Australia, London, countries all over the world. And I said yesterday, I talked about this yesterday, and nobody else is catching on to this, so to speak. Nobody understands this. But here's what I'm saying. Socialism is in the blue states in this country right now, in the blue states and the blue cities. New York's a good example. Seattle's a good example. So you've got people, first of all, where taxes are very high, where the escape for the people who are not making much money are being trapped. Those people that are trapped are desperate. They're destitute and desperate because of socialism, the beginning of it. And of course, they say, "Oh, we're gonna open up government grocery stores. We're gonna do all these. We're giving you free bus rides. All of the things we're promising you." Okay, so whatever those things are that they're promising, ask yourself this question: how can you keep paying for it? Well, forget about that for those that are in trouble. All they're thinking about is today. We can't afford to live here because of property tax or rent or whatever it is that's causing their problem, and they can't escape. They're not millionaires. So if you're trapped and somebody says, "I'm going to give you free bus rides, and I'm going to give you free this and free that, and there's going to be, we're going to do reparations for blacks, and because we're not going to take care of anybody else, but we'll do it." I won't keep going on that. But they're going to believe that because they're in the moment, not in the possibility of the future. So now those people that are in those cities are voting for the socialists because they think they're going to get the free stuff. It's just like when Biden did all the crazy stuff saying we're going to eliminate all of the school loans. Of course, he didn't do that. He couldn't do that. Don't have the money to do that. It's, the mechanism to even make that happen isn't possible. But socialists, Valerie Jarrett, Susan Rice, all the people that were in behind Biden were telling these stories, and they were believing it and voting. But fortunately, it was so bad that Trump won. So now you've got these three people in New York, and I focus on New York a little bit more because it just happened. But now you've got these people in New York that are winning everything because I don't know if this is in this part of the video that's coming up a little bit here, but of the voters, there was only 3% of the voters, 3% total combined for those three people. But they won because it was just the socialists that voted. Everybody else stayed home. That's the way it happens. That's the way it continues to happen. And when that occurs, when those things happen and you can't stop it, when I say you can't stop it, when you are in a point where it just goes on like that because people aren't voting, I keep saying vote, 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 then what do? Well, the answer is you have to figure out a way to get more people to vote in the general election. This 26th election is going to be a big deal. So I want to take a quick break here. and talk about my friends at Rumble. We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part that most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of the bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today, everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels a little bit complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all the complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and running up in minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like me directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click on the link in the description and download in the wallet. I want to put that code up there for you because that's important for you to have. Where'd I put it? There it is. Put that up there. Yeah, there we go. So click on that QR code that you see there, and you'll get an opportunity to jump into Rumble Wallet. Rumble Wallet is a great answer to where we are today and figuring out how we can manage our money. And we have to make things simple. So click the code in the description, download the Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. In just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. And that's crypto. And that's what Rumble Wallet. Do it today. You'll be glad you did it. And so that's just a piece of the puzzle that we talk about the economy. And thank you for being for visiting on that. So Mamdani-backed Socialist primary winners found a group whose goal is to eradicate Western civilization. You know, this is a big deal. When we're talking about backing a way to end and eradicate Western civilization, Delisa Xavier helped launch Columbia University Apartheid Divest, which said it wants to end the West. The socialist, backed by New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, who won Tuesday night's primary election in New York's 13th congressional district, found a group in college that called for the total destruction of the West. This is a candidate for Congress that has a high probability of winning because I don't think the Republican candidate stands a chance. So she's a Democratic nominee for U.S. Congress who made career out of community organizing, wrote in her biography for an opinion piece in independent news outlet, the electronic Intifada, that she helped launch the boycott, divestment, and sanction campaign, Columbia University's Apartheid Divest. We are Westerners fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization, the group said. It's a now deleted 2024 Instagram post. Now, why would that be deleted? Oh, because she wants to win the election, get in office, and once she's in office, guess what? Then she has the wonderful opportunity to be able to be more socialist and try to control people. If that doesn't worry you, I don't know what will. This is really, really a big deal. So Miranda Devine talks about this, the socialist surge, and what she thinks the Dems are doing could help the Republicans. Watch this and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Letitia James was a big supporter of Mamdani, early supporter of him. The fact that there's friction that is going on now, what is happening?
Well, I mean, I think she's absolutely right. The DSA has decided that it's going to jettison any deals that they might have had with those moderate or establishment Democrats who just tried to save their own skins. The leader of the Hispanic caucus was one of the first to endorse Mamdani, and Mamdani endorsed a candidate who ousted him on Tuesday. So there's no honour among thieves. And I think, you know, you see Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and so on, they're like comical Ali while, you know, Baghdad's on fire. They're saying nothing to see here. It's an unmitigated disaster for them. But it's a good thing for Republicans because, for one thing, they can point to these fringe characters with their repellent policies that nobody in America wants, and differentiate themselves in the midterms and sort of paint the entire party as being a party of crazies.
Wow. Think about that. First of all, smiling faces, man. You gotta worry when you see Zohran Mamdani with this great big smile on his face, and same as her, same as Chevalier. They're the scariest people. They got the big smile. They look like they like you. They look like you can trust them. Here's a guy, Mamdani, that was endorsed by a politician in New York and was helped to win the election, and he won the election, Mamdani did, and then he put somebody up against him in this primary. Don't trust these people. You can't trust them. You can't trust people that are out just for power. If you're just out for power, it's kind of like what we've talked about with fraud. If there's money out there, fraudulent people will show up. When people want power, and they see weakness, they will take advantage of it. And now there's a weakness. New York is getting a little crazy, but you even have the weakness with the House and the Senate, the people that are in office. But somebody's really upset about some of this situation that's happened in New York, and it's Letitia James. She's fuming over the Mamdani-backed socialists' sweep in New York. She said a Democrat bristled at fellow Democrat mayor growing clout after a slate of socialist candidates wrote his endorsement to primary victories on Tuesday night. Some of the candidates that he has supported are individuals who do not understand, this is Letitia James saying this, who do not understand the politics of New York City. Corrupt, but they don't understand it. The cultural differences from district to district, which is true, who have not been part of the history and the struggle of some of these districts and are relatively new to the body politic. So what she's really saying is these people are so stupid and don't have any experience, and they're even dangerous to Letitia James. James, who famously prosecuted Donald Trump on financial fraud charges, told CNN after the election results came in. James added that she and other Democrat leaders are disappointed in Mamdani. Listen to that. Listen to that. This guy's been in office for like a nanosecond, and here they are, all unhappy with this guy, which is no surprise. It's really no surprise. You have to expect that when this stuff happens, when a Mamdani starts taking control and gets the power he has right now, it's scary about what he would do and can do and might do. So all said, all done, so to speak, in New York, all these socialists that are getting power, all of these people that are running down the street telling everybody you're going to get free stuff. Then you get a guy, Mr. Big Man, shorts and sweatshirt, John Fetterman. Listen to him.
Yeah, no, I mean, the kind of people that are trying to run out of office. I mean, they're just good traditional kinds of Democrats you would have expected in New York City now. And now this has just become, really, it's just been the dancing days of the dirtbag left. You know, with some of these candidates are outrageous. You know, you have candidates, they abolish ICE, abolish the police.
Yeah, and abolish. Think about, imagine this. I don't care where you live. If you live in a small town or you live in a big city, LA and Ligonier, Indiana. I'll use that because when I was a kid, I grew up there, and I think they still have about 3,500 population. We were there in the summertime. Well, at the lake, close to that. Doesn't matter how small it is. Take the police away. Just take the police away. No police. No jails, because they don't want jails. Don't need any jails. So somebody goes in and robs a store. They get arrested? Maybe not, if they get rid of the police, if they have social workers. Maybe they do get arrested, but so what? There's no jails. Or worse yet, there's a murder going on. There's somebody that's broken into your house, and the cops ain't coming because the cops ain't there. There's nobody going to do that. Abolish ICE? They don't understand. Those people that got in across the border that Joe Biden opened the door for, a lot of them are not good people. I've talked about, my wife was a horse person literally for 70 years. And, every horse barn on the planet have their workers are pretty much Mexican. They're Mexicans, Guatemalans, a lot of Guatemalans down in Florida. They're all across the country because they work their ass off. But they're good people. They work hard, and they're not criminals, except for they probably came across the border illegally. But that happens a lot. Happened a lot. George W. Bush didn't do anything about it. Clinton didn't do anything about it. Obama did a little bit about it. But there are some good people there, and we have to come up with a solution for that, and then keep the border closed. Because we're not going to get rid of 20 or 30 million people. It's not going to happen. So that's Fetterman talking about this stuff. And do we worry about it? We should. We definitely should. And will it change? Can it change? The answer is it should be able to change. We should be able to get control of this, but we need to have strong people that are willing to stand up and say, this has to stop. So with that in mind, we've got a couple of things: fraud, voter ID, the people, the SAVE Act, which is a big deal. And people are not willing to do something about an 80-20 issue. You look at the statistics, everybody wants voter ID, except for Chuck Schumer, who knows that he'll lose 20 million voters on his side. I think he's wrong that it would be all 20, but a good share. And the Democrats don't win by much usually. So what's going to happen with this? Well, Anna Paulina Luna is a congressperson from Florida, and she's working hard on this. Watch this video.
What's going on in terms of that judge that ruled that you cannot require proof of citizenship to register to vote? Does that play into the fact that there could be a legal challenge on the Save America Act?
Maybe, but it doesn't mean that you don't do anything. And I think that it should be right for the courts to actually rule this. Every other country in the world, for the most part, requires voter ID. You have to have you saw at the Barack Obama library, you have to have an ID to get in. And yet they're saying that it's racist. I mean, that's so entirely toned up. Here, I'm Hispanic, I'm a female, I'm a veteran. I literally check all the boxes. I'm not dumb. I can figure out how to get proof of, citizenship and also voter ID to go vote. So it's a retarded argument.
And what do you think of the senators who are the holdouts on the Save America Act? Why do you think they're not getting behind this? in the Senate and pushing it forward?
Well, there's zero reason because 80%, as CNN had stated, want this to be done. Okay, so there's no reason I would start looking into who they're taking money from and if it's a corruption issue. But what I will say is that if Thune would embrace the talking filibuster, change the parliamentarian, we could get it done, and he's not. So you should ask yourself, why is a Senate Republican not doing his job? The president's been very clear. The president did the right thing by removing the signing. He's not playing these games anymore, and I'm going to fully back him, and I have the votes to do it.
Wow. This lady, she's strong. She's been strong all along, and it's really been a refreshing experience to see her and to see Wesley Hunt, who's from Texas. These people that are standing up to common sense and doing something about it. They're saying, hey, this has got to stop. So I mentioned Wesley Hunt. He's talking about voter ID. She talked about voter ID. And, you could just look at it from the surface and say, why would anybody be against that? I mean, it says in the Constitution that a citizen of the United States can vote. Unless you want to change the Constitution, I'll share that exact verbiage tomorrow with you. But you can't just ignore that. But we are ignoring it. We have to stop that ignorance, which is the same as ignore. Ignore means ignorance in the final word. But this voting, this having the ID, people being against this, which is basically the politicians are the only ones overall that are against this. Who else is against it except for the people that know that they're going to lose too many votes? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. How do we overcome that? Well, watch Wesley Hunt. This piece is a little bit long, and I apologize for that, but it's worthy of being seen. This is Wesley Hunt talking about voter ID, and he's just not that stupid.
But if the United States is a country worth preserving, then I think we must protect the integrity of our elections and do everything in our power to do just that. I am shocked that the SAVE Act, which has already passed the House, is even controversial. And safeguarding our elections is the bedrock of our democracy. It's something that both sides should easily support. They say that non-citizens voting in an election is not a real issue, or if some non-citizens are registered to vote, it's not a significant amount to make a difference. Well, in my home state of Texas, we just removed thousands of non-citizens from voter rolls. And in some of these recently hotly contested elections, that amount could even be enough to swing an entire election. Undermining the integrity of elections is not an oversight. It's a threat to democracy. I think it's time that we, as a body, acknowledge that threat. Now, I'm sitting here right now, and I got to tell y'all, I'm black, and I'm a veteran. I have 6 forms of government ID. 6. I've been black for my whole life. I've been a veteran since 2000 when I was at West Point. The insinuation that black and brown people cannot get an ID to vote like every other citizen, regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed, is insulting. I actually refer to this as the soft bigotry of low expectations. We, as all Americans, should want free and fair elections. We aren't making it more difficult for people to get an ID to vote. Every last black person that I know in my life has a government ID. We as a country have got to clean up our rules to ensure that we have free and fair elections regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed. And that's why I reject the assertion that we, no matter what color you are, cannot reach that very low bar of having a government ID to figure out how to vote for the leadership and the future of this country.
Yeah. I'm not that stupid. It's really true. I mean, you can't go anywhere to an event. You can't go into a bar. You can't go into a liquor store. You can't get on an airplane without ID. Everybody that's at the airport, Denver Airport is a super busy airport. All those people that are in the terminals, all A, B, C, and D. There's no D. A, B, and C, when you go out to those terminals, guess what? They all had ID to get past the security. All those, and they're all normal people. They're families going someplace. But the Democrats say, oh, it's too hard because people don't have ID. Stop it. You're disgusting. Disgusting would be a compliment. I don't know. I really don't know how they can do this and with a straight face say that it's voter suppression. So let's go back to Anna Paulina. She talks about the SAVE Act and where the stumbling blocks are. Watch this.
I've been a long supporter of the Save America Act. We know the issues in the Senate with the few senators that are not voting for it. Why shut the floor down? What's the long game here?
So they're not going to be able to do it in reconciliation. The Senate sent over a bill, and the House leadership actually suspended our rules, meaning they changed it to where they knew they didn't have the votes on this parliamentary procedure because there is a group of Republicans, rightfully so. They're saying that we're not going to pass the Senate legislation for their midterm, campaign promises to their people because we know that they're lying on the back end and not passing an 80-20 issue that the American people, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent, overwhelmingly want. And so in us shutting down the floor, it's showing that they're not going to be able to get done what they want to get done. And I really applaud the president for saying that he's not going to sign it into law. I think that he reserves the right to veto. And either which way, you can see that Thune is kind of squirming right now. Now, I want to warn the American people that you cannot place Save America Act on reconciliation. It's not possible to be done. So we're not drinking the Kool-Aid on that. Unless the Senate decides to fire the parliamentarian, nothing will change. And so they don't get to go home and say that they're getting wins for the American people when they're not even able to deliver on an 80-20 issue.
So the parliamentarian, mouth didn't work there for a second. That person is the one that looks at whatever a bill is and decides whether it can even be brought to the floor. It's not just the senator can do that. They can fire that person. And I think that person's been there for a long time and seems to be a problem. Again, probably against voter ID. And there's corruption everywhere. There's people that are working against Americans every day. It just is more obvious because Neil Frame on FramersView and Dan Bongino on Rumble and other people that are doing podcasts and Fox News and Newsmax and other places all of a sudden are being watched by more people. And everybody's going, wait a minute, what do you mean? Why can't we bring this to a vote? Why can't we do reconciliation? Now, I think we have to make the Democrats speak to try to stop the bill and push them to do that. We got to get this done. And now Trump's saying, hey, you know what? Guess what, guys? I'm not playing this game. I'm not signing the housing thing until you stop this nonsense and pass the SAVE Act. He's strong, and he'll do that. It's just finally somebody that's willing to just stand up and walk away if he has to walk away. So, fraud. I want to show that this fraud piece is really interesting, and all of the people that are lying in this video I'm about to show you, it's going to blow you away. Watch this and we'll talk about it.
Elon Musk, you didn't create U.S. aid. What Trump and Musk have done is not only wrong, it's illegal.
And no one elected Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Musk. It's been quite invigorating, actually. I'm really enjoyed it. And what's funny about it to me is that you're mad at the guy that found the fraud, but not mad at the people that wasted your money. Here in Congress, we clearly can't cut a budget, so I really thank Elon for doing our job for us.
Yeah, no kidding. So these were all people that were pissed off that Elon Musk and Doge got started in the first place. Just the fact that it got started, totally unacceptable. Can't have that happen. And now billions of dollars are being cut out of the expenses. U.S. aid, we know now. I mean, how would we have known if somebody hadn't paid attention? Because obviously oversight was doing nothing. It's kind of like all the billions of dollars in Minnesota. How would you know? Because the oversight people are complicit in the whole thing that's going on with the fraud. And without oversight, they just keep doing it. And then the Leering Center keeps getting money. And there's nobody there. It's stunning. And so now Doge, without Elon Musk, is making things happen. They're claiming, when Elon Musk did what he did with USAID, 400,000 people died, or 4 million, whatever the number is. There's no evidence of that. That's a could, might. I'm going to make this up and hope you believe it. That's what we're really talking about. So with all that said, all is bad news, so to speak. It's not bad news. It's not like it's over. It's not like we just close the shelter door and pray to God the nuclear weapon that goes off. We're not there. We haven't been there. We're not there. And we're not going to be there. We're going to fix this by you saying to your friends, vote, and tell you 10 of your friends, and especially talk to your friends that are liberal and say, please watch the news on the other side and learn the truth. And we'll talk about it. But you need to understand, we've got to stop this in our country. So with that said, let's take a look at where inflation is right now, because nobody wants to talk about that, do they? So this is the inflation story. This is what is really a big piece of this puzzle. And what I mean by that is this: when you keep hearing the economy's terrible, Trump has destroyed us, blah 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 blah. 2026. You look at where we are today in June of 2026, and inflation is down in the 2% marks. 2%. This is the 5-year break-even inflation rate. This is a big deal. This is a very big deal. This is where, and this is with us having the gas prices up like they are. This is with the Iran war, if you want to call it that. All of those things that are happening are all things that people think it's all over. Trump destroyed us. We're all done. And guess what? No, we're not. It's not all done. In fact, what it really is that we now have an almost impossible result that turned out that, guess what? The inflation is down. And how about job creation? That's another juggle that we've gone through. Job creation, more in the red states than the blue states. And this supports what I was talking about with socialism. So take a look at this. Red states continue to dominate blue states in job creation. So the Unleashed Prosperity economist Ejatoni has just updated his jobs chart by state. From 2021 through 26, 9 of the 10 states with the fastest private sector job growth are red states, and 9 of the 10 states with the fewest private payrolls added were blue states. Think about that. So here's part of this list. This is every state. And all of these states, look at the top there, most of it's either red or leaning. And you look down at this isn't even the bottom. There's a second screen here. But these jobs are massively different and bigger. Here's the final part. Look who's at the bottom. Look at these states that are at the bottom of this list. They're blue states. They're leaning blue. Here's one red state with New Hampshire. I'm not sure New Hampshire is really a red state, but then more blue. It's so clear what's happening. And again, we don't want to talk about that, because if we talk about that, well, that's going to be bad news. That's going to be bad news. Where we go from here is up to you, the voters. Get educated, understand what's going on, take a look at what the Dems do, take a look at what the Republicans do, vote with your heart. If you want to vote Dem, that's fine. If you're educated, if you understand what's going on, fine. But if you don't know, you don't follow things, and you just do the Dem thing because it's a Dem thing, that's a dumb thing. It's the same as Republican. If you don't know what the Republicans are doing and you don't agree with it and you just vote for them because, I mean, that's great for the Republicans, but be educated. I'd rather have everybody know what's going on and make an intelligent, educated decision than have what we have now and have the press pushing all of their agendas to make all of these things work. Because that's all this is. That's all this is. So there you have it. Hey, I thank you for today. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time, to do this again. And I'm going to give you some information that I think will be interesting for you. It's a Friday. We'll try to have some interesting stuff and some fun stuff. Until then, have a good day and rock on.
Thanks for your support. Join the FramersView Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for your support.